The last Thursday in month, the last Thursday in January, and here we are with the 22nd Pan-European Conference on Digital Education, which is this time devoted to teaching languages. Today we will be with you, the whole team, and we will present ourselves in the moment. But I think that the majority of you already know me, so I am the old moderator that is with you every month. So Blanka Tacer is my name, and I'm from STEP Institute and Primera courses. So I kindly invite all of our participants to say a few words in the comment, and welcome also the presenters that will be with us today to say a few words about you. So first I would like to welcome Martin. Martin is from Deutsche Auslandsgesellschaft. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I work in Lübeck on the Baltic Sea, right at the Baltic Sea in northern Germany. And I was actually once trained to be a teacher of English, but nowadays I organize and do myself in-service training for teachers of German.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, and hello also to all of the participants that are greeting us. At the moment, we already have 42 of them. Oh no, we have 42 likes. We have 140 people from different countries. So Romania, Macedonia, I see Croatia here, Turkey, Spain. Welcome all. And Ilpo, welcome. Hello. So Ilpo is one of the co-founder of the EUNEOS courses from Finland. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, thank you. I'm a language teacher, now retired from my school job, and I'm still working together with these wonderful people to promote learning and teaching in the European Union in Erasmus Plus project.
Thank you very much. Yes, Ilpo will be with us today for the roundtable, so which is the first contribution of the conference. And a part of the roundtable is also Spasia. Welcome.
Thank you, Blanka. So I'm currently working as an English language teacher, but I also part of the EUNEOS team together with Ilpo, and I also do courses, especially the course How to Make Your School More International. So I do work in the field of internationalization for a long time now as an internationalization coordinator, expert evaluator, and eTwinning ambassador. And I have my master thesis in Finland at the University of Oulu, which are on globalization and education. And thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we have another two ladies with us. So Vanya will present one of the teaching case today.
Yes, hello. My name is Vanya. I come from Zagreb, from Croatia. I'm a preschool teacher advisor, and I've been working teaching languages to children from 3 to 6 years old for almost 20 years. 17 years I've been teaching Italian language, and for 2 years I'm teaching English language.
Really nice, thank you. And Iris, welcome. You also have one of the cases, so please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So good afternoon to all of you. I am an English and German teacher. I have been working in primary school for about 20 years so far, and I have got a lot of experience in teaching German and English, many projects, and I'm also a mentor teacher. So I really enjoy my job, and I hope I will inspire today someone to do great things.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we will see a little bit data, a little bit information about the conference today. As I said before, the conference today is devoted to digital teaching of languages, but it doesn't mean that we will speak only about that, because I think that every teacher can actually take something from the conference today, which is quite broad. The agenda is as follows. So we will start with a round table. About digitalization and inclusion in teaching languages. Are they friends or enemies? After this round table, the keynote will follow, performed by Martin, how to motivate colleagues who don't like to use digital tools. Then our Spasia has two contributions, and the first one is Teams and Quizlet, so platforms to support the teaching of foreign languages. And she will also introduce actually our joint project that we have, our three institutions, that is eTwinning project, increasing accessibility of international professional development. Then the two cases will follow. The first one will be performed by Iris, joint virtual English classes with language teachers from all over the world. And then Vanya will conclude the conference with the case of Let's Go Digital, example of good practice from kindergarten. So she teaches English in kindergarten, as she said before. Yeah. We really must be grateful to Erasmus program, because the conference today is actually a joint effort of 3 institutions that joined together in the long tail partnership. The long tail partnership aims at increasing accessibility of international professional development for language teachers. And Spasia will tell you a little bit more about the project later. And she will also introduce the 3 courses that will be free of charge and will be intended to people, to teachers who do not have such an easy access to Erasmus funding. So I think this is a nice opportunity for quite a lot of people. So thank you, Erasmus program, for that you support us and enable us to work on topics that we like. And since this conference is a little bit broader than usually the conferences are, you also have an opportunity to contribute your own case. So if you have a teaching language, digital teaching language case, you can join the conference Padlet and submit your case there. By this, you actually contribute to the international community so that we can learn together. You all are also invited to learn from the cases there. See here, there are a lot of cases already there, and our Tina will put the link also in the comments, in which you can find the link to see and to scroll all the cases that are already there and maybe contribute your own. And by contributing, you will receive also the certificate of poster presentation. Yeah, and before the conference, we also did a little bit of a little survey, I would say that, on Mentimeter. So to maybe just to collect a little bit, a little information directly from teachers. So I will present the key insights from that. So here you can see advanced digital tools in teaching languages. So here was the question. So actually there are 4 of them. How often do you use different tools, digital tools in teaching languages? So on the left side of the scale you see never, and on the right side you can see on a regular basis. And from the result we see that teachers are most often engaged in using digital games in language learning. Yes? But then a little bit less frequent, they use out-of-class autonomous language learning technology, and a little bit less they use different artificial intelligent chatbots, and even less they immerse students in a 3D adventure stories. So this is actually the future of the digitalization and in languages. In some areas we are already strong, but some areas are still emerging. Maybe this will be also an interesting case to discuss at the round table. In this slide, you can see which digital tools teachers use for improving writing skills. So maybe you already expect the answers, maybe they are expected, and maybe there are some surprises, but those are the most frequent answers. Google Docs, Grammarly, Canva, Padlet, also we use Canva and Padlet, and different digital boards. And the next question was, which tools teachers use for online assessment? And those were again the most frequent answers: live worksheet, Geniali, Google Forms, learning apps, and different Quizlets. Okay, but one question was also this one, that is actually the title of our roundtable that we have. So, digitalization and inclusion in teaching languages. Are they friends or enemies? And guess what? 85% of teachers said that they are friends. So we actually assume, we are so used now, maybe especially after pandemic, to digitalization in education, that we are convinced that they are friends. Maybe our guest has some comments about that. So now I invite Martin and Ilpo and Spasia back to the stage, because now we will start with the round table about that. So my question, the first question would be, this. So why did we give the title, are they friends or enemies? So where is the enemy actually? Because teachers said that actually they are friends. So maybe Martin, you can start.
I think it depends on you and me, on us as teachers, whether we are talking about friends or enemies. And so my core sentence would be, you always have to try to keep in mind every single student, to think of where might every single student be. And if you don't do that, this may very well be an enemy situation. But if you keep in mind that every single student is as important as the other, maybe I give this ball to EUNEOS at Finland. I think this is a very Finnish teaching tradition, which might not have been so active in Germany, and maybe also not in other countries, where maybe those who perform better get a little bit more attention and the others get more stress. I don't know. In Germany, we had such a tradition, or luckily it's not like that anymore. But I think 85% we will go into the direction of 90% and 92% rather friends, if we think of every single student.
Right, yeah. So, Ilpo, the digitalization and inclusion, friends, enemies.
Well, basically, it's of course friends. In some cases, it may be an enemy if you feel like challenging with bad technology, for example. And this has been a very quick development in the world. In 30 years, when I was teaching, all things in the internet changed rapidly. Every year there was something new, and you had to learn to use them. And it's always a challenge to learn to know some new thing. And if it happens, if it doesn't happen very easily, then you feel like it's being an enemy. But after it's going fluently, I think you will recognize that it was a friend after all. Thank you.
And Spasia, before you give your thought, I would just like to invite all of you to ask some questions for our guests. So you just put your questions into the comment and we will see the question. So Spasia.
Yes, I agree with both, with Martin and Ilpo as well. And as Martin said, it really depends on the context where we are and the environment where we are. But also, it's really important to know how to use technology, especially in class. So we as teachers need to be some kind of experts, more or less, and try to show the students how to do the right things with technology. So to switch off from entertainment mode, using phones, for instance, for entertainment mode, to more content-wise, things that are useful in the classroom. And there are a lot of apps that can help us in do that. But we will take this conversation later on.
Yeah, exactly. And there are so many learning apps and everything. And sometimes we can see that actually less is more when we speak about the digitalization, because we can easily confuse students, despite we think that they are digital nomads, but they are actually not so skilled when it comes to so many apps. Nobody is actually then able to perform excellent in every single app there is. But yeah, maybe this is one of the common myth about the inclusion and digitalization in teaching languages. This is actually my next question. So what are really some common myths about inclusion? Spasia, maybe you can continue.
Yeah, actually, when talking about myths, I vividly recall a teachers' meeting that we had the other day, and the discussion was whether mobile phones should be accepted in class or not, or even used in class or not. And the conversation took like for 2 hours and more. And the main issue that was discussed was that it takes away the students' focus, and because they frequently check the notifications they get from social media, or they get calls from friends and family, and we have this urge to like immediately respond to this distraction. But what I usually say to my students is actually something that I read a few days ago on the internet, and it was about this teacher from the United States who is entrepreneur and teacher as well, that students actually have an encyclopedia in their backpackets. So they have access to all the knowledge they need, and we as teachers really need to try to make most of it. So as I said before, it's not enough to just hand students technology, but we also need to teach them how to do the right thing. And the problem usually is not the phone device, but it's more of the how the classroom is managed. So it's about classroom management. And this, of course, requires diligent teachers and teachers who are careful when using mobile technology in class. So the key point will be how are students engaged in learning with technology, and the role and expertise of the teachers, of course, are very important. And I really wanted to share here with all the teachers present something I have read from, it's Agnes Kukulska Hulm, I hope I pronounced her name right, and her team. They actually, she is a professor and researcher for learning and communication technology at the Open University, and they've designed this guide for teachers on how to use mobile technology for English language learning, and with the idea to enhance the use of careful use of mobile devices in the classroom, but also to help and guide the teacher thinking when designing the language learning material for the mobile learners. So they took into consideration a lot of things, like that there is a gap between the teacher training policies and the curriculums and a lot of documents and materials that we use, and this gap has to be bridged sooner than later. And also they talked about this gap between teachers and students' perception of how language will be learned. And they emphasized the importance of learners' voice, that learners are, of course, in a good classroom with a good teacher, learners are co-creators of the lesson as well. And of course, learning tasks need to be carefully designed so that the desired learning outcomes will be visible. So in that case, we need to be more careful about certain obstacles, such as costs or Wi-Fi connections, or the variety of mobile devices which are used in the classroom, and so on and so on. And again, they call here one more time on teachers' diligence. And the most interesting part was probably about giving some possibilities, some options, how to make a mindful and quiet environment for the teachers to use, for teachers and students both, to use mobile devices in classrooms. And some of the suggestions were to maybe ask students to switch their phones on flight mode, and they can still use the phone by taking photos or making audio and video recordings, and then maybe turn off the notifications so students can make use of the dictionaries and translations and listen to pronunciations and so on and so on. And of course, a discussion about proper use of mobile phones is needed in the classroom with the learners, but probably the most valuable solution is having policies. And institutional policy will probably help do a lot in overcoming the differences between the different understandings of how learning should be done in the classroom between the learners and teachers who accept or don't accept the use of mobile phones in the classroom.
And in the end of the day, actually, Daniela, one of our participants, comments that we can use mobile phone while teaching English in order to save paper. It's another reason.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, Ilpo, what about you? What would you say about different myths about digitalization and inclusion?
Well, I couldn't agree more with Spasia on what she said. First, I have to say that. Then one myth which was very strong also in Finland, even if Finns are normally very curious about technology. Many teachers thought that technology is not a good thing in the classroom at all. And students are not so interested in that. They should have some more, how to say, intimate connection in the classroom. And when you go across borders in the internet, it's not so interesting. But on the contrary, I found out that students are really interested in meeting their peers in the world. So I started to make a project-based learning in collaboration with colleagues, with German colleagues in Brazil, Australia, Japan, and later, especially in Europe. We were not in the European Union in the first years when I started, but I noticed that especially those exotic countries and what the students had to tell to our students high in the north was really interesting for them. And it revived our teaching, my teaching a lot, and their studying a lot. And somehow, because I always learned about the communication with others, the students came closer to me than before. It was like a family. Earlier, it was more official, but then working in project-based learning, it became really, really intimate and really nice. And I have nothing else but very good words to say about that kind of approach. Thank you.
Yeah, and I admire your wisdom because you started with this many years back, actually, and today this is modern way of teaching, but you were really ahead of your time. So Martin, what about you? What are some common myths that you encounter at your work?
Well, I can just say that Ilpo is totally right. Contacts to people from all over the world. Although we're talking within an EU context here, we all don't need to forget all the countries outside of the EU. And I'm not only talking about applicant countries. So I can totally agree on that. And I would also like to agree to what Spasia said, that the classroom situation, the teaching setting, it's kind of an enlarged classroom. It's rather an abstract term, like Ilpo also said, like personal combination. So that is that's very much to be gained, and I think you need very clear rules. So if we maybe agree that it is a good idea to at least sometimes use smartphones with all their capacities, sometimes with limited capacities, and if you ask me, to quite a large extent also faces with forbidden faces. So so then we can have a good combination if we have these clear rules. Well, but we always need to think that, of course, we have some kind of a generation gap. Personally, I'm not so quick at technical skills, actually. So kids think I'm quite slow to learn things. That's the generation gap. But I think we all know about that. Some of us are quick, others are not. But what we may often forget, and I think this may be one of these dangerous situations where it could be more in the direction of enemies. So what I think, I take you 85% turnout, Blanka. We would not like to go into the direction of 82, but we would like to go in the direction of 88, 92, and which is then we also need to see where could be the problems. And one problem hardly ever talked about is that there's also a great big gap within technical skills within the younger generation. So you do have some younger people there who are not so quick and who might even prefer very classic grammar training and so on. So language teaching about 20 years ago kind of found out about creativity. I mean, paint more, do so on. And personally, I'm very glad I was in school before that, because it wouldn't have helped me. So there are some people who don't like to be creative, and there are some some students who are not so interested in being quick. Maybe they can use these skills sometimes, but they don't really like to. I agree with Ilpo and Spasia. Most of them do so, but not all. So that's what I said in the beginning. Try to keep every single student in mind, and then we get into the direction of rather more than 80%. Now, like a politician, I didn't answer to your question. The question was, what do we actually find out? I think that we can motivate many teachers and students to have everybody along when we are talking slowly and really taking also within the little bit older generation, getting people coming alongside and not demanding, oh, see here, do this and this new tool and this may shock people sometimes, I think. So my experience is that we always need to be very patient and slowly talk about rather simple digital tools.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you very much. You gave me a lot of things to say to a starting point, but I usually prefer questions from the participants. So I will show one of the questions that was in the comments. So, how the quality of virtual teaching and learning can be measured and assessed without any further burden on teachers? That's true, actually. With digitalization, we thought maybe in advance that we will have less work, but then in the end of the day, maybe we have more work. So, who maybe, I don't know, Spasia. I mean, all three of you, I know that you know the answers, but maybe Spasia, you can maybe start.
Later on, we are going to have presentation on especially me, I'm going to have presentation on different platforms. So the idea of actually using such platforms is to have less work for the teacher. So the assessment actually, it's usually automatically generated. So it's and everything that I read on the internet goes for pro and for easing up the process of assessing and evaluating students by using different digital tools and entire platforms as well. But we will talk about that later on in the presentation as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Some additions by Ilpo and Martin.
Well, I would say that there are courses and training about e-assessment. So there are specialists, experts who know how to do it so that you don't burden yourself too much. And I would like to comment a bit on Martin and Spasia too. I also share the idea that let all flowers blossom. That must be the rule. You may have 30 students. They are not clones. They are personalities, and they have different demands, different requirements, what they want to learn, how they want to learn. So it's good to have different approaches. And of course, for example, project-based learning is just one approach. But those who have participated in eTwinning know exactly how nice and how useful it can be for your teacher. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I don't want to ruin the positive atmosphere, but I think the question was a little bit in the direction, and this is a rather difficult task. The rules governing our whatever, how do you proceed with exams? What kind of work do you have to do? What does your school, the people ruling the school, running the school, what do they demand, and so on? And then if you come with kind of new ideas while others are a little bit more passive in the digital world, then you come with new ideas, then you very often find an openness, but you still have to do everything the others and the other rules are there. And I mean, this is, I don't really have a good suggestion to that. I think the suggestion is we need more energy than usual teaching performance. But at the end of the day, we need to try to dare ask these people and to dare ask even ministry officials to try to change rules. And well, in Finland or Estonia, for example, now maybe I should say this, they did this to some extent, but in many countries, including Germany, I can't really see that. So it's a hard piece of wood to cut.
Yeah, well, exactly. And however, in the end of the day, language learning, I mean, the innovation of language learning is, according to my experience, mostly relied on the goodwill of individual teachers. you know. So firstly they invent something and then later the rules change, but they have to be persistent in that. Yeah. All right, so thank you very much. I think we need to wrap up the round table and proceed with the keynote. So thank you all for your valuable thoughts. And now the word goes to Martin again with the keynote. Well, we can actually continue with the motivation. So how to motivate colleagues who don't like using digital tools. So there are, uh, many of them are really fans, but many of them also actually hate the digital technology. So yeah, Martin, can you say a little bit about this?
Yes, I will try to see whether now I have the right presentation here. And now I hope that you can see my presentation.
Yes.
Okay. Then that was right, that I am beginning now, Blanka, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, then I hope you see my slides, and I try to use 7 minutes. So the topic of this keynote questions, please write your questions into commentaries. How to motivate colleagues who don't like to use digital tools. You might also say colleagues who don't use digital tools, they do exist, and or other, you might say, colleagues who make rather little use of digital tools. I want you to be shocked, maybe, because I want you to motivate me to make use of Padlets, because we have a conference Padlet here, and I saw already many commentaries in there, but personally I don't like Padlets. Please help me getting better. If I want to explain to somebody new what a Padlet is, I might use these very easy images. So if you know what a Padlet is, you will probably know how to explain the functionality of a Padlet with this image. Use images like that. This is my first piece of advice. Don't show a Padlet like this very conference Padlet here. Somebody has never having used a Padlet before will be stress. We'll return to Padlets at the end. Please motivate many other colleagues. That's the hope, my hope, that after this keynote and after this conference today, to make use of digital tools which are useful for them, for their special context. I will now talk quite a lot about me. And sorry, I don't want to be arrogant. Self-centeredness is sometimes a good idea if you want to make a point. But of course, we need to mostly think about others. We need to be in touch. This is from the musical Fame. If you want to be in touch, you need to be in touch with your emotions if you want to touch others. So I would like to change that into you have to be in touch with your personality if you want to really motivate others, other personalities, like Ilpo said, other fellow teachers. Actually, I use colors and type size and so on in this presentation very deliberately. So what we need to think about is what is your, if I address you, what is your circle? What are your circles of colleagues? And now, maybe funny, are you a dangerous digital tool super performer? If so, don't act too enthusiastic. That's what he already said in the round table right now. It may be dangerous if we leave others behind who might not be as quick as we are ourselves. Illiteracy, this is if you don't know how to read and write. It's kind of a taboo very often, because try to think of your own situation. Do you know teachers, friends who at the end of the day, can't really use, don't know how to use the computer, the smartphone, the tablet in the way you think that it's quite normal. And what I suggest, also like Blanka already said, less is more. Average technical performance acting, that doesn't need to be the same like what you actually know. You might be very quick, you might be well advanced, you might be great yourself, but if you want to impress others, it may help to act not too quick. I would like to have this slide here quite a while. These are rather simple tools, aren't they? Personally, I have never used ActionBound or Classroom Speed, neither have I used Tricider. We will hear about Quizlet. I have used it a bit. I have used learning apps in Mentimeter, and I am a overuser of Kahoot. I just love Kahoot. But coming back to this page in 2-3 minutes, do I like to use pictures and images? Does everyone like to use pictures, images, and can manage that easily? If I talk about me, I don't like to use pictures of my own, not at all. And I very, very often feel myself misunderstood by other people because 80-90% of people take pictures and they like to use pictures. I don't. And so we're not clones, like Ilpo said, we're personalities. On the other hand, personally, I love copyright-free pictures, pictures with no copyright restrictions from pixabay.com. I can very well, this is a very good idea to use that. And so if talking about me, and this is what we need to understand, talking about me, and please think about yourselves, own pictures. If I use own pictures and show others, they don't get shocked, stressed, because, I don't do that very quickly, very professionally anyway, but I may have good ideas in this still. But being an over user of pixabay.com pictures, I may be too enthusiastic, like you see in these Pixabay pictures, and this may be a danger. John Hattie is a very, very renowned scholar teaching in Melbourne, Australia. And if you haven't, probably you've heard the name, or maybe you've heard the name. Teaching personality plays a very, very good role, but I think we always need to focus on the student's perspective. And who is the student here? In every teaching situation, if you ask me, es gibt immer 3 Lehrer. There are always 3 teachers. This was said by Reinhard Roth, who used to be principal of John F. Kennedy Primary School in Berlin. It's a very renowned person in the German context. And what do we need to think about here? How can we motivate teachers, colleagues who don't like to use digital tools or don't often use digital tools? We need to think that this is a teaching situation with this one fellow teacher or a couple of fellow teachers ourselves, and we always have these 3 situations, 3 teachers. Me, myself as a teacher, the surroundings, the settings, we talked about it, and the other student. In this case, that's the fellow teachers. Please read what I write here, and this is what I suggest. That's the question rephrased. How can you motivate many other colleagues to make use of tools useful for them, for their context? And please have another look on this landing page. And with my self-centeredness, I'd like to go towards the end of this keynote. I think I can be a very, very good peer-to-peer motivator for people who are not so skilled in technical in tools for learning apps in Mentimeter, because I use it on an average pace and I know what to do. Kahoot, I may only be a good peer to people who are kind of for competitive tools. That's actually a danger with Kahoot, that you only address competitive people who like competitiveness, like me. So I maybe, even if, although I'm really a big fan, I may be a dangerous peer-to-peer motivator. We need to have a double focus here. So on the student's perspective, in this context, if we want to motivate colleagues, the colleagues are our students, because we want to make them use more digital tools. But then at the end of the day, we also have to have, that's why I wrote double focus, we have to think of the end effect on the students, so the students. But what doesn't really help, and I'll quit here with this website on in-service training for teachers of German. But let's go back here. What helps is to really know your situation. Think about who your students are, and then think at the students at the very end, and they don't think, if you are trying to convince your fellow teacher to use digital tools in a better way, in another way, more creative way, don't think, what would I do with his or her students, but rather go ahead with how would this person address their students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. And I think that this is actually the hardest part. So peer coaching here comes in use, because you always have to go to the perspective of the other people, not from your perspective, but from the other. So ask them, what do you usually do? What are your experiences? Have you already succeeded in this? So really great, yeah. And also Gina is saying we motivate our colleagues if we help them and share with them our teaching experience. So teaching cases, maybe it can be also one of the sources of motivation.
I agree with that. And we need enthusiasm. That's what I said. Enthusiasm. This may help in this context if the other person responds to that. I can be very, very enthusiastic, but very often, those people who don't address me personally, who would I proactively need to address, then my own enthusiasm may be a hindrance even. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for your contribution, Martin. And now I invite back to the stage Spasia. Spasia has actually two presentations. The first one is eTwinning project, and you all are invited to join our eTwinning project. This is about increasing accessibility of international professional development for language teachers.
Okay. Do you see the presentation now, Blanka?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So first, I'm going to start with presenting.
This will be your first presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I thought that the eTwinning will be the first. No problem. So, okay, the teaching case on Teams and Quizlet will be the first, and then we will follow with the eTwinning project. I'm sorry.
The eTwinning project, yes, no problem. Thank you. So, as you already know, I'm going to present Teams and Quizlet today. Teams as a collaborative platform for creating all in one place virtual classroom. And then Quizlet as a platform and a tool not only for teaching and learning languages, but also for a tool as assessment for performance of students. And in the interest of time, I will try to be as brief as possible, and I will focus only on the main features, which I believe will further on tickle your interest, so you can explore many more options that these two platforms can provide. And before starting with Teams, I need to emphasize that this was a project initiated and financed by the Ministry of Education in North Macedonia as a response to the need of online teaching due to the pandemics. So this part of the presentation might be of greater interest to managers or authorities, if there are any present today. So the Teams platform in this specific case is administered by experts, as I said, and accounts are assigned to all teachers and students. And currently we are looking at the homepage. And the most important part that we need to notice here is the left column, where we can see all the options and tabs which are important. So we are going to start with the first tab, and this is the Teams tab, where all your teams are here. There is an option to join already existing team that probably the management team have created, or some of your teachers have created for collaboration, or even create a new team. And such examples are, for instance, this one. This is my English language class with second graders. And also we have our teaching meetings, online sessions, and collaborative space here as well. So the opportunities and options are really quite many. And now we're going to take a real sneak peek into how this class looks like inside. So as I said, this is a second grade class, English class, and some of the most important features here, tabs, are at the up part of the screen. So posts, this is where all the synchronous and asynchronous conversation with your students happen. For instance, you can see that I have already written down that where they can find their workbook and students' book, and they're sorting files, which we'll come back to later. And there's also an option to for online meetings. So you can have an individual meeting, or you can have a meeting with your entire class and do it from the classroom view. And files, of course, are stored in the Files tab. You can upload here all class materials, and this is a cloud storage space. The best thing about this cloud storage space is that you can add different tabs. So depending on the Microsoft package plan that is purchased or that you have in use, you can use a variety of options like Word and Excel documents. You can run quick posts with your students, PDF documents, whiteboard for synchronous work with your students, embed YouTube videos, like almost everything that you might find useful in your classroom. It is really interesting that you also have here the class notebook, which can be a collaboration space between teachers and students, and both can edit the space, of course, because it's collaborative. Sorry. The content library, where teacher can edit and students can view. The private space for teachers and the private space for students as well. You can also give assignments to your students, different kind of assignments, and you can do this in the classroom itself, or use the assignment tab in the left column. You give here assigned tasks and activities, homeworks or classworks, but you can also see who has viewed and returned the work. Assignments can be different. As I said, you can use different documents and YouTube videos and so on. But you can also have quizzes for assessment, because we mentioned that before, using using Microsoft Forms, I'm sorry. And the best part is that you can either create new one or use something that you have already created. And you do not have to create it separately for every class, but you can share it with the classes that you want, either one class or all of your classes where you teach. And there is the option to give grades to your students and provide feedback on their performance as well. And the last tab that I find important to present is the calendar tab. As I said before, you can have online meetings either at the moment individually or with your entire class, or you can schedule classes with your entire classes, have online teaching activities, and the schedule, as you see it here, is visible to all the students, the management team as well, and also all the teachers, so you can make plans how the teaching will take place. So all in all, as I said before, Microsoft Teams is a great platform for creating your virtual classroom, and where everything is stored in one place. And of course, it's a very safe environment to use. And next, I will move to Quizlet, a platform not only for teaching and learning, but also for assessing. And this is very user-friendly platform, and it actually requires minimum work from the teacher. And this is the home page, and you can already see some of the study sets that I have created for my students, which I can share with different students and different classrooms. And the only thing that you need to do is either create a class or create a study set. And it's extremely easy to do that. So if you want to create a class, this is what it looks like. You add the class name, you add the description, decide whether to give administrative rights to your students or not, opt for the school that you have previously entered when creating your profile, and then you create your class. So this is teachers and students view as well. And you can see I'm the teacher, but I'm also a student here. And the platform itself generates a link that you share with your students, and they can join either with Facebook or existing Facebook or Google accounts, or also open an account on Quizlet. And it's really easy for them to join because it's only one click to join the class. And besides creating the class, you need study sets, as I said. So you can create or add a study set. And this is what it looks like. It can be a new study set, or you can choose to use some of the study sets that you've already created. And I'm going to use one of them just to demonstrate how it is done. And this is the only thing that the teachers do, actually. You can decide on visibility, whether everyone can see it or certain students or certain classes, and who has the administrative rights and so on. And you create the sheet by adding a card. And this is what it looks like. So this is the only thing that you do as a teacher. You add the term, you add the definition. You can decide on adding an image. It can be from an existing gallery, or you can upload your own image, and decide on the language that you're going to use. So there is a huge a list of languages that can be used. And also there are listening options, but if the language that you opt for does not have a listening option, you can always record your own pronunciation. And after you do this, after you fill in this sheet, the platform automatically generates all the activities for your students. So this is the student view now, and what they get can be flashcards with the definition and the term, or vice versa. They have the learn section where they can match, but also have options to listen, match definition on terms, or vice versa, as I said. The writing section as well. You have the definition, and they need to type the answer to that definition. And the spelling section, where there's a listening option. They can read the definition, listen to the word, and then type it down. And of course, the most important part probably is that tests are generated as well from the study set or study sheet that you have created. So you get true or false questions, multiple questions, matching questions, written questions, and so on. And in order to include game-based learning, make learning more interactive, there are games and activities. So this is a matching game where they can match definitions and terms that you've previously prepared, or a gravity game. And here students can even decide on the level of difficulty of the game. As for the teachers, this is teachers view. There's one more option, and this is very much like Kahoot. If you have used Kahoot before, you probably already know how it looks like. So you use a study set, or you create a new one, and the platform generates a code or a QR code that you share with your students, and they can do, this can be a quick formative assessment, so they can work either individually or in teams. Okay, and this is where the slide that I'm going to leave you with. I have put down some of just a short list of the pros and cons of using both platforms, so it is something that you might be interested in. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, I will just say go ahead because another presentation is also made by you, and it is now about eTwinning project on the topic increasing accessibility of professional development that we are currently working on. Yeah, so
Yes. Yeah, just a second, sorry. Okay.
Okay, this is it.
Yes, you see it. Okay, good. So yes, this is the eTwinning presentation. So prior to talking briefly about the project and group in eTwinning that we have created for the purposes of the long tail project, I'm just going to briefly introduce eTwinning if there are any participants who are not familiar with the platform. So this is actually a virtual platform for collaboration of educational staff. So not only teachers, but educational staff that come from different European countries. And currently there are 43 member countries on eTwinning, over 1 million teachers and over 200,000 schools that are on the platform. And there's the eTwinning Plus option, which includes some of the EU neighboring countries. So as I said, this is collaborative space where ideas can be shared and mutual projects created with European peers. And the best part of this is that students can take active participation in the projects themselves and work with European peers as well. So the collaboration part, you can either when you decide on the partners that you're going to work with, you can either create new project if you have a new idea, or you can choose from a gallery of showcases, which is a selection of the best practice examples. And also eTwinning provides opportunity for professional development, and there are many opportunities that you can choose from. But probably the best part here are the online events, which are created by teachers for teachers. And if you have a great idea or some great best practice that you would like to share with your colleagues, you're more than welcome to create an event and do that so by yourself. Okay, as for the eTwinning groups, the groups are created with 4 specific subjects, and they are on specific topics, and they're actually a virtual meeting place for the teachers. I have done some research and found out that if you use the search option and type the keyword language, there are actually 176 groups which actually include this keyword. But of course, you can narrow your search and search for German language or English language and so on, whatever your preferences are, of course. And for the newbies, beginners, I warmly recommend that they check the self-study materials which are available on the eTwinning platform. But also this group is amazing for someone who is new in eTwinning. It's called Virgilio or Virgilio in Italian. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And these are your teacher colleagues who will help you step by step to get acquainted with the platform better. And when talking about eTwinning groups, as I said, for the needs of the eTwinning, sorry, I have made a mess here. When we're talking about the needs of the long tail project, we have created the group, eTwinning group, which you are more than welcome to join. It's about inclusive and accessible digital activities, which are mainly targeted at teachers who are one way or another not included in Erasmus+, whether we are talking about small schools that don't have enough capacities to do so, or maybe some rural areas as well, and so on and so on. And the main point of this group, the main idea of this group is that we share all the information. So it's a communicative channel for communication of all the free online events that are going to happen within this project later on. So if you join the group, you will be informed on time, but we warmly also welcome you to use the forum discussion, communicate with your colleagues, and collaborate, of course. eTwinning projects are another thing that's part of eTwinning platform, and I said about that before. The best part is that you have a special twin space, which is a completely safe environment for you and your students. And I also made a search about projects using the key term language, and surprise, surprise, there are currently 10,000 projects with that contain the word language in one way or another. And of course, for the purposes of the long tail project, we created our project as well. Again, please join the project. The main idea is that everything that is learned during the free online activities that we are going to offer within the project, to put it in practice on the platform itself. We actually invite you to share examples, if applicable. Also ask your students to join. So this is a great opportunity for teachers and students to participate with their European peers. And again, I will mention that the target group are mainly teachers that come from countries that are not part of the Erasmus Plus program. Okay, so how to join them? For the eTwinners, it's very easy. You are already an eTwinner, you know what to do, and you go and join Longtail group and project. If you are not eTwinner, but you come from eTwinning member countries, one of the 43 countries that I mentioned, you need to only register on eTwinning and join the group and project. And because this is intended for teachers coming from countries that are not part of eTwinning and Erasmus Plus program, then we have created a Google form. And the best option here is that they can be added as visitors and guests, and together with everyone else, collaborate and communicate and enjoy all the benefits of this collaboration and of this project. Just a sneak peek into our upcoming free events, but you will learn more about the program, about what is planned when you visit the eTwinning space. So the 27th and 28th of April, there will be online teacher training on using digital tools in language learning. 2nd and 3rd of June, online training on teaching German as a foreign language. And this is going to be in German, which is, I think, really good for the German language teachers. And on the 12th and 13th of July, it's the Learner Voice Engage Language Students in Participative Collaborative Learning. And yes, that's more or less about it. So thank you very much. And here you can find my email address. In the interest of time, maybe the presentations were a bit rushed, and I really apologize for that. But you can always email me, ask questions. I will be more than happy to respond to that. Thank you again.
Thank you, Spasia. So the participants are saying thank you and congratulations for all the projects and for your brilliant ideas. So these are the comments that are within the comment site on YouTube and on Facebook. So thank you. Right. So you will learn more about the long tail projects and all the opportunities that are within. Just go to the eTwinning page and TwinSpace. And now we follow with our conference. So now I invite Iris. So Iris Zorić has a presentation on joint virtual English classes with language teachers from all over the world. So I am really curious about your project because I imagine it as a huge work, but it really sounds as an inspiring case.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, so just wait a moment.
Mm-hmm. It will
Okay.
come.
Yes, can you see it well?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just a moment. So good afternoon again. As I have already mentioned before, I am an English and German teacher, and I have been teaching those languages for 20 years so far at a primary school in Osijek, Croatia. So today's topic is joint virtual English classes with language teachers from all over the world. How did I get the idea to connect my students to the rest of the world? So since the pandemic started, we didn't have a chance to travel to other countries in Erasmus Plus project. So I wanted to give my students the opportunity to meet their peers from other countries. Since I have a lot of English friends among English teachers, I connected first my students to their students, and then I also have joined English teachers communities and groups. So I invited other teachers to cooperate with me. The first and the most important thing in organizing those sessions or meetings is to have a parental consent form. So you know that this is the most important thing. I have also created my own teacher's portfolio in which I listed the most important things related to my teaching and the ideas for intercultural classes. So now a little bit more about those classes or meetings. Before I started the project, I have created the whole code of behavior for my students, that the rules they have to stick to. So they should speak only English during those classes. They should have their webcams turned on. They should stay muted unless I tell them to speak. They should be ready to unmute whenever I want them to speak. They should be focused on the speaker all the time and are not allowed to take any photos and are encouraged to be brave, polite, and open, of course. Very important thing is to have a short meeting with English teachers before real classes. So first without students, then with them. Why is that so important? Because I think that a good preparation and organization is the key to a successful class. We use the platforms Zoom, Google Meet, and Teams for communication. And I really like those breakout rooms and our students as well, when we divide students in groups of 4 and 5, and they have the topic they have to communicate about, and they like to spend time in groups with their peers. How do we choose the topics? So we try to incorporate the topics from our curriculum in these meetings, but we also ask our students for their preferences so they can suggest their ideas. So here are some of the topics that we have dealt with so far. My country, my school, the differences between school systems, culture, special holidays, arts, sports, favorites, the origin of English language, British English versus American English, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, online classes versus classes at school, the COVID-19 pandemic. We also practice different grammar structures, such as comparison of adjectives, tenses. They deliver speeches on specific topics. We have already organized spelling bee competition, and we present projects that we make in English classes as well. So the countries we've met so far, not all of them are on the list, but I'm going to highlight some of them. India, Brazil, Turkey, Israel, Indonesia, Mexico, Poland, Egypt, Germany, Greece, Spain, also Portugal, and so on. As you can see from the pictures, atmosphere is always relaxed, but the classes are really well organized, so we know exactly what follows. Or in order to make classes interesting, we give our students a task to prepare some digital activities. So they should either prepare a presentation in different apps, or they should make quizzes or interviews, videos, whatever we'd like to do. So in that way, they not only develop their language skills, but they also develop their digital skills. Here we had the topic art, and our students presented their pieces of art. We also had the topic, as I've already mentioned, about English, modern language, new language. Just a moment, I skipped one. We talked about happiness. And now I will tell you about some other projects that developed out of this one. So we have also started Pen Pal project, exchanging letters with peers. So they started communicating first on Padlet, then emails, and they stay in contact also after this exchange. I have also created video exchange project in which our Brazilian and Indonesian students exchanged videos with ours. And the work that is still in progress is a video book with different countries. So The Little Prince. Our students are the narrators, and they should present The Little Prince in a book. Since my students like doing videos and I really like them also, we have also created online video competitions. So students from other countries had to vote for the best video of my students. We have also presented the Erasmus Plus KA2 projects to other countries. And we have this habit to make short thank you videos after each class or meeting in order to express our gratitude to our partners. And it is a great pleasure when also our English teachers and friends invite us to congratulate them on some things, and they put us on websites. They have also written some articles. This one is from Brazilian friend about cooperation with me. So I think that I can conclude my presentation with benefits for students. So students are exposed to different accents, intonations, which I really find important for their future communications because they get used to different accents. They are more motivated to learn English and are eager to cooperate on producing digital activities because they can see the purpose of it. They know that they will need this quiz in this meeting, okay? So they practice speaking and writing English in natural situations and not only in classroom situations. They also come more self-confident in speaking in front of unknown people. And we also give them the opportunity to get certificates if they are really active in classes. Benefits for us English teachers is meeting English teachers from different countries is definitely always a benefit because you become more tolerant, you learn a lot. It's good for our professional development because we organized meetings where we exchange ideas, teaching ideas, methods, but that's not a kind of webinar. It's just, let's say, chat, okay? We improve our digital skills. We gain self-confidence in speaking English in front of international audience. And we have also made a lot of friendship bonds that can help us in realization of our own creative ideas. So I will end my presentation with my teaching motto: educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. So I think that every language teacher should invest a lot of love and joy and energy into his or her teaching in order to have satisfied and professional kids after that great work. So I'm going to thank you now for listening to me and for inviting me. Vielen Dank. And if you would like to cooperate with me on such projects, feel free to contact me. So I would be happy to cooperate with you. So that would be all.
Thank you very much. I was so, oh my God, I was so inspired that I wanted to show this your concluding thoughts, but then I just missed something. But it will come now. So
Okay.
yeah, educating the mind. So educating the mind without educating the heart is not an education at all. And thank you for leaving this sentence, not just you, but also the other teachers that are with us today. And this leads us to our last presentation. Vanya, welcome also you.
Hello, everyone.
Vanya is one of the rare cases of kindergartens that we have an opportunity to host in our conferences. So today she will present us her case on example of good practice of teaching foreign language in kindergarten. She is really experienced in that field. So I'm looking forward to your presentation also.
Well, actually, I might have a problem. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where my presentation went.
No problem. If you wish, then I can share. Or maybe you just try to find for a couple of seconds. If not, I will
Because
prepare.
we tried it and now I can't find it. I turned it off.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. It's a digitalization.
Yeah. So I will try now. Excuse me, everyone.
Sure, no problem.
Hope it will work. So no, I can't find it.
You cannot find it at all? Or
No, I have it on my screen, but I don't have it when I press share screen and everything we tried before.
No problem. So I will share that. Just a second. Share slides. It will take a little bit of time, but
I'm trying to. Oh, there it is.
Now you have.
I might have it. Wait a sec. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't have it so that I would put it.
Yeah, I find it.
Okay, now it's there, yeah?
Everything's fine. So as I said before, for those who wasn't here from the beginning, my name is Vanja Šuško and I come from Zagreb, Croatia. I'm a preschool teacher advisor working with teaching kids foreign languages for 19 years. I've been teaching them Italian language for 17 years and I teach English language for 2 years now. So while learning foreign languages, not just because of acquisition of vocabulary and syntax, but children should also develop self-confidence, sense of security, willingness to learn other foreign languages, and they learn about other cultures and the differences. Why using digital technologies? The research that Yusuf conducted in 2020 showed that students said they have more focus on the content itself while they learn by using YouTube. They have opportunity to hear native speakers, and the more often children hear and pronounce or sing the text with the native speaker, the easier it is to adopt it and the more confident they become when communicating in foreign language. It is also very important to watch facial expressions, body language, and gestures used in different cultures. Quality digital content should have lots of visuals that illustrate what is being said, clear pronunciation, characters or people should not speak too fast. There has to be lots of language repetition and opportunities for children to join in, repeat language, and copy actions. Me, myself, personally, I always use videos that are not too long, maybe from 2 to 5 to 6 minutes stop. My children are from 3 to 6 years old. I didn't say that. So we do lots of sing-alongs with YouTube videos. On the left side, you can see children copying movements from the YouTube video and singing. And on the right side, there is a part of some music project I did before. children were familiar with all the instruments from the song. It's when the band comes marching in, which I usually use during this carnival time. And they made also instruments from the blocks. But in the first, there were only 5 children over there because I just played the video. I didn't invite them. They just came and they wanted to listen it all over again. The next thing, I led them all over the classroom, and all the other children also joined, and we were marching and copying the movements like we are playing the instruments and singing. And what I saw next, children were singing very correctly, like native speakers. When we learn about culture, I use some videos. Here is a video example for Mardi Gras, which is not so popular in English language countries, but is very popular for Italian culture. Here they can see also children speaking about the customs. We can also learn about the nature. I use this video about water cycle. For kids, where you have 2 drops, they have different face expressions, and they speak very slowly. And my kids really enjoy this video, and they learned a lot in English. We also do some tales. On the left side, there is a star money, which is also very popular in Croatian tradition. These are some apps I use in my work: Movie Maker, Stop Motion, Viva Video, and Book Creator. We did also from this music project, we did this book, Princesses and Unicorns, and children made a book. So we made also a Viva Video movie about it. We taped the sound and the video. So children really love to watch the things that they did. And what I also do, I tape them and we watch it on a TV. So they really enjoy listening to themselves, how they pronounce and how they speak. It's very interesting for them. This video, Chubby Little Snowman, we did in stop motion app. We are also a part of eTwinning projects. This year we are part of a project called Artistic Children. But what is important there, that they also support digital competencies. And for example, you can see a kid doing some puzzles on a laptop. We also used Pixton. We made a picture of our class. So children are really enjoying those projects because they can hear other children from Turkey, Romania, or whatever country. That it was very funny when they were, for the New Year's Eve, when they were saying Happy New Year, they said, "Oh, how they pronounce it? I can't understand them." So it's really good to use those eTwinning projects. This is the literature I used for this presentation, and thank you all. I hope it suits you.
Thank you, Vanya, and congratulations for your work. All right, so yeah, this leaves us to the end of the conference. We still have a few things to say. So as Spasia presented you the long tail project, I would also like to invite all of you to apply for the free international courses for language teachers that we provide within long tail project. And here you can see the dates and the topics. 2 of them are in English, so this is Digital Turn and Learner Voice. And Online Deutsch, this is in German. So kindly invited, but As you know, the main goal of the project is, the main target group is that we provide opportunities to those teachers that do not have an easy access to Erasmus funding. There will be a selection procedure. So we will actually select 30 teachers for each of the course, but kindly invited to apply. Okay. So here is the link, and also Tina will put, Tina, thank you very much for your really kind moderation of chat. She will also put this link into the chat. Here is the application form for all the 3 courses. And yes, what can I say? You can also apply for the next Pan-European conference on digital education, so which will be, oh my God, I see there is the wrong date on the slide. Actually, this is the 24th of February, not the 23rd. Sorry for the mistake, but 24th of February, so the last Thursday in month. That's all. Thank you very much to all of you. I hope to see you next time. So, thank you.